It's time to return to Mega Man. Fortunately, completing Mega Man games is easy. It always takes somewhere between 2 to 3 hours at this point. I'm not going to bother with the introduction this time around, as I'd be repeating myself. But at this point, the Mega Man franchise was running strong, and Capcom was turning out these games like they were machines themselves. After the conclusion of Mega Man 3, which left gamers with the impression that Dr. Wily was dead, where was there to go? The story of Mega Man 4 takes place a year after Mega Man 3. After Dr. Wily's disappearance, peace has reigned. But one day, Dr. Light and Mega Man receive a message from Dr. Kozak, who says that he's out to conquer the world. With his newly powered-up Mega Buster, Mega Man heads out to stop the destruction and defeat Dr. Kozak. This was the first Mega Man game to have an opening cutscene that told you the story. It even comes with a recap of how Rock became Mega Man. 8-bit cutscenes. Is there anything better than that? Yes, this is all recorded off the original NES. As authentic as possible, that's how I like it. Mega Man controls similar to how he did in the previous 3 games. The slide ability returns as well, but this time you have the charge shot. By holding down the fire button, Mega Man will power up a more powerful shot. It's useful for when you want to take out enemies in one hit or at a faster rate. In this game, it's rather odd to look at. Rush returns, but like before, you have to unlock all of his abilities rather than simply having them at the start. Not sure how I feel about that. I honestly didn't use the weapons you get from the Robot Masters for the most part. I largely just stuck with the charge shot because it makes killing enemies far more easier than if you were just doing it with the 3 Mega Buster shots. You also get introduced to Eddie in this game, who can sometimes give you very helpful items. Sometimes. The first stage I did was Toadman's stage, and his stage contains absolutely beautiful waterfall effects that I think still look nice to this day. There are annoying parts, like when you don't have the Rush Marine to go through this section, but it's easy enough, I suppose. Toadman is also really easy, as he just hops around and makes it really easy to hit him with the Mega Buster. Alright, he's down, easy enough, so I get the Rush Marine. Great, that would have surely come in handy just a few minutes ago! Next up is Brightman's stage. This stage has the added effect of causing the lights to go out if you defeat a certain enemy, but you can turn them back on by defeating another enemy. Of course, this leads to some tricky jumps if you're not careful, since you can't see where you are going. Or these parts with the circular platforms that rotate and you have to time your jumps accordingly. So when I got to Brightman, it was pretty easy, as all you have to do is make it rain with Toadflesh and he'll go down no problem. Next up is Pharaoh Man's stage. It definitely looks like it takes place in Egypt, so you get unique enemies like mummies and having to deal with spikes by riding on top of enemies. Pharaoh Man is really easy, just freeze him with the Flash Stopper. That's really kind of underwhelming. I was really hoping for this to happen.
Now I've got your power!
Next up is Ringman, whose stage contains platforms of light that disappear whenever you stand on them, and if you're not careful, they will lead to certain death. As well as a giant hippo robot that requires you to continuously blast the platforms he's on. Wily, Kozak must have been feeling very creative. Ringman with a fully charged Pharaoh shot is easy enough. Alright, let's do Dustman next. Dustman's stage looks like it takes place in a garbage compactor, and you gotta watch out for enemies that appear out of bottomless pits to knock you into them. The stage is most notable for having a huge trash compactor that will crush you unless you absolutely know where to slide and take out the debris wherever you can. With the ring boomerang, Dustman goes down easy enough. Next up I did Skullman's stage, who has a really cool design, I must admit. Mostly I remember this stage for a rather cruelly placed E-tank that's almost impossible to get. Skullman goes down quite easy with the Dust Crusher. So now for Dive Man stage. This time I had the Rush Marine, so underwater sections were no problem. You know, that's 2 underwater fiend levels in this game. Of course, there's dealing with the typical mines underwater, but it's no problem, really. Dive Man is taken out with the Skull Barrier. Well, that leaves one more Robot Master, which is Drill Man. This level looks like it takes place underground, and of course there are drills coming in and out of the ground. This level contains parts where you have to hit the switches to turn on the platform so you can see them. This took some time to get right. You gotta use the dive missile on Drillman, who keeps barreling underground, so you really gotta keep moving. No dock robots this time around. Thank God. Just go to Dr. Kozak's fortress. Not much to say about Kozak's first level. It's pretty run-of-the-mill. The first boss is Mafraya, which is pretty easy with the drill bomb. Not much to say, move on to the next level. This stage has platforms that will rotate between clear and having spikes on them, so you gotta time your jumps accordingly. Honestly, it's nothing you can't handle. The square machine requires you to use Mega Man's versatility to your advantage by getting in between them and blasting the two parts in the middle. The third level is an auto-scrolling level that leads to the boss, the Cockroach Twins. Just stand there and you can take them both out easily. So now it's time for the final showdown between you and Dr. Kozak. But before you beat him, you get a cutscene. Proto Man will appear with a little girl named Kalinka, who will tell Mega Man that her father isn't really bad. He was just being forced to do his bidding because Dr. Wily had kidnapped her, who appears himself because, yeah, of course it was Wily all along. So now you have to go to Dr. Wily's fortress again. Underwater segments. I'll just use Rush Marine to... Never mind. Well, the boss is pretty unique. It's Metal Daddy. What a name. There's not much to him, just hit where the eyes are. That leads to the next boss, Taco Trash, which requires using the ring shot to damage him in the eyes. So, after that, rematch with the 8 Robot Masters again, and finally confront Wily. His first form is really easy. Just stand under him, charge the Mega Buster, and wallop him. His attacks won't hit you at all. His second form is a little more tricky because you have to hit the green orb on top. Final boss, he disappears and reappears. Your best bet is to charge up the Pharaoh Shot and just hope it hits him. So when he goes down, he begs for mercy again, but escapes through a secret door. At least this time there's a reason Mega Man doesn't just catch Wily. So that's Mega Man 4. It expands the world of Mega Man with some storytelling, and adds to his arsenal of abilities quite well. It's pretty obvious Wily is the big bad. He was doing the hijacking before Ganon made it cool. Mega Man 4 is a fine game. It's a pretty good way to spend 2 to 3 hours. Well, with that, let's move on to Mega Man 5. Mega Man 5's story opens with a cutscene detailing yet another robot attack is taking place, and Dr. Light is kidnapped. The perpetrator behind these attacks appears to be Proto Man? Or so it appears anyway. Come on, we all know it's Wily. I'm glad we're finally getting cutscenes to try to tell more of a story, but it's still not much of a plot. Stories back then were basically used to give you a motivation to play through the game so you'd have an endpoint. Mega Man plays exactly the same, except now his charge shot is slightly different, which is how it would come to be viewed from now on. Also, if you get hit while charging, you lose the shot. Mega Man still has Rush, but the Rush Marine is gone. The Rush Jet returns, and he still has the Rush Coil, which is a little different than I'm used to. In each stage, there are letters that spell out Mega Man 5. If you get them all, you get access to Beat, who you summon down and will attack enemies for you. Of course, you can't charge your Buster when you use him, but he comes in handy for picking off faraway enemies. You also get access to the Super Arrow, which works similar to Item 2 in Mega Man 2. First up is Starman stage. It takes place in outer space, because why not? That means anti-gravity is in play. Starman is fun to fight as he's another shield boss, so you gotta jump around and avoid his attacks. Next up, let's do Gravity Man. This level introduces you to going upside down and back, right upwards a lot. It can be a little tricky to get past, but it's manageable. Gravity Man is a bit annoying to fight as you have to constantly use the Star Crash to get the drop on him whenever you're above or under him. Next up is Gyro Man. This level has you up in the sky, so you have to avoid getting crushed by the ceiling as you continuously move up. That's the most notable part of the level for me. I'm not even sure what the gravity hold does to Gyro Man. You pretty much just press the attack button and it causes him pain. Next, let's do Crystal Man. I see they took the crystal aspect of his name a bit literally. One of the most annoying things about the stage is the part where falling crystals come out of the ceiling, and if you get hit by them, you're in for an instant death. Crystal Man is a piece of cake. Nice to have an easy boss after a hell of a stage. Next up is Napalm Man. His stage has tiger enemies, as well as more tight platform jumps with enemies coming out of the bottomless pits. Crystal Man's weapon can bounce off walls into tinier pieces, so use that against Napalm Man. Next, let's do Stone Man. Stone Man's stage takes place in an underground bunker, though it's pretty run-of-the-mill. Not much to say about it. Stone Man keeps reassembling himself, but with a well-timed napalm bomb, he'll blow himself up. Next up is Charge Man's stage. His stage takes place on a train. How cute. Charge Man is a bit annoying because of the annoying way the Power Stone goes in a circle whenever you use it, so you have to be standing right next to him in order for it to work. finally, that leaves us with Wave Man. Wave Man's stage has little bursts of water that come out of the ground and hurt Mega Man if he touches them. Must be poison water. And a very noticeable part where you have to jump off bubbles at the right time to progress upwards. You also have this Wade Rider part where you have to time and jump your shots accordingly. I think the X series would use this. This took some practice. Wave Man is easy with the charge kick. You have to slide in order to use the attack, so that's unique. Now it's time to go to Proto Man's castle. Proto Man's first stage contains disappearing and reappearing blocks. Oh, how I've missed those. Then comes the first encounter with Dark Man. He's a tank and he's really, really easy. This part where the shoulders shoot out gem attacks is a little tricky, but here's where the Power Stone actually comes in handy for taking care of them. Darkman 2 is easy enough, just hit him with the Crystal Eye to do major damage. The third Proto Man level contains a part where you have to keep up with a moving platform. The third Darkman is a tank that freezes you in place. It's best to use the charging kick to kill him. The fourth level takes you to the Proto Man, but Mega Man can't fire on his own brother. But then the real Proto Man appears and reveals the true disguise of the fake Proto Man. Darkman, hey Proto Man, you could stay and help. It would be nice. Darkman is really easy, just use beat to attack him for you. Then Dr. Wily reveals himself. You know, why do you bother hiding yourself? On to Dr. Wily's fortress. Another trash compactor, which is a little more tricky to get past, but then you face big pets. Just use Crystal Eye and you can win. The second stage contains yet another underwater segment. The boss, Circling Q9, is actually really easy. Just hit him with the gyro attack. Fight the robot masters again, and finally confront Dr. Wily again. Wily is really easy. Just hit him with another charge shot every time he lands, but like always, that's just round 1. This part, yeah, during this final battle with Wily, I ran out of E-Tanks, and there's no way to go back and refill them as far as I know, so you have to hope against hope that you figure out how to predict his attacks. His first form is easy if you can just hit him with the super arrow. For his final form, just let Beat run around and hit him since he keeps reappearing and disappearing. But finally, hit him with a gyro attack and pray that you beat him. So with Dr. Wily defeated, Mega Man frees Dr. Light, but the ceiling starts to collapse. Wily makes his escape in the chaos, and Proto Man comes to Mega Man and Dr. Light's aid by doing whatever it is he just did. So Mega Man has rescued Dr. Light, but Dr. Wily has escaped. Again. This is becoming a trend. Mega Man 5 is pretty standard. Nothing about it particularly stands out, but it's also not a bad game at all. It once again tries to make you think Dr. Wily isn't the bad guy, but we all know that that isn't the case. Well, let's move on to the final game in the NES Mega Man Hexology, Mega Man 6. Well, we start off with an opening that tells us that Mr. X has sabotaged the world's first robot fighting tournament and has been manipulating Dr. Wily from the very beginning. You know, at this point they're not even trying. Come on, that's clearly Dr. Wily. Everybody else has to be so stupid to believe it. So, whatever, let's just wrap this up real quick. Mega Man plays the same. Instead of Rush coming to his side, Rush combines with Mega Man to become Jet Mega Man and Power Mega Man. Jet Mega Man can hover over short distances, and Power Mega Man can break huge blocks, allowing you to access hidden goodies. You can get access to Beat again by exploring alternate pathways. Mega Man 6 has alternate routes for you to take throughout the level, so that does add some replay value. You can also get the Energy Balancer. Hello, Proto Man. Goodbye, Proto Man. This reveals your energy even when you don't have a weapon selected, a very useful ability. Let me tell you that Jet Mega Man completely breaks the game and makes it too easy as you can just hover over anything. In fact, this is the easiest classic Mega Man I've played so far, except for this level. I started with Plant Man's stage, and his stage is the worst. It's a long stage with lots of enemies, but the worst part is where you have to bounce on these springs without hitting the spikes. It took me nearly 40 minutes to beat this level. Plant Man is actually not a hard boss, which makes up for the hell that is getting to him. I would have used Jet Mega Man to make it easier, but you have to beat this level to unlock it, so I recommend doing this stage first. Next up is Wind Man, which is just another stage in the air. Wind Man is pretty easy. You can take him out with a charge shot pretty fast. Now it's time for Flame Man. Oil that gets set on fire. That's a bit of a nice touch. I'm running out of things to say because this is so easy. Flame Man is easy with the Windstorm. Now, we'll do Tomahawk Man. Good thing this is an 8-bit game, otherwise he might have been given a very stereotypical personality in the 2.5D games. This level was where I first encountered what was essentially a Pez dispenser. That's basically what this is. It has a beautiful sunset. Let me say that Plant Barrier is the worst shield weapon in the whole classic series, but it does beat him pretty easily. Next I did Yamato Man. It actually makes sense that all the robot masters look like they're from different countries, considering this was the world's first annual robot tournament. Yamato Man stage actually has alternate pathways, which is fun to explore. Yamato Man is easy with a silver tomahawk. Next up is Nightman, descending spikes from the ceiling. Again, how wonderful. Much easier this time though. With the Yamato Spear, Nightman will go down very easily because it's the only thing that will go through his shield. Next up is Centaur Man. Man, he has a very unique design, I must say. This stage contains underwater segments, so the same standards apply as always. Centaur Man is easy because if you stand in the middle of the stage, his attacks can't hurt you. Last up is Blizzard Man, another Ice Fiend level, not much to say about it. Blizzard Man is easy enough with the Flame Blast. Time to go after Mr. X. The castle offers plenty of goodies if you take the time to explore alternate pathways. The first boss is the Rounder. Plant Barrier comes in serious handy here, actually. Next boss is the Power Piston, which is just another really easy boss with easy to predict projectiles. Third boss, Messenger Z. Just use the Blizzard attack so that way your attacks will hit. Finally, that leaves you with a confrontation with Mr. X. He's pathetically easy, but now his schemes have failed, or failed. Yeah. He reveals himself to be Dr. Wily! Mega Man even jumps back in shock. Like, you seriously didn't see this coming? Whatever. On to Wily's castle. First up is Mechasaurus, but you can just punch his platforms back at him with a power upgrade. A neat little touch. Second boss is a tank. Yeah, this is getting a little stale. Another rematch with the 8 Robot Masters, and now it's just you and Wily. Oh hey, Eddie! Give me something useful! Screw you, Eddie! Now for Wily. He's really easy with the Power Mega Man upgrade. You can't slide while you're using it, but that's just the nature of the game. Beat him again and he does his usual disappearing and reappearing trick. This is getting kind of old. Whatever, all the same. You beat him, he begs for mercy, and Mega Man does something intelligent. He brought a rope. Wily is put behind bars for his crimes, and all is well that ends well. In many ways, this could have been the ending to the whole Mega Man series, but, you know, there was money to be made. Mega Man 6 is fine. It's a little stale, but it's a fine way to spend 2 to 3 hours. My favorite of the classic series so far is still 2, but all of them are fine games, true classics. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please hit that like, bell, and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.